If you only wrote down like three things, just go ahead and end the call now. Just end it. Time's up. Put it down. Put it down. Put it down. Pens down. Pens down. Pens down. Hold it up to the screen. Let me see what you got. Hold it up. Right up. Right up. Right up. Right up. Come close. Come close. Come close. Come close. All right. Let's start with Jack. He got push it in closer, Jack. Push it in closer. Let me see. Okay. Pull it back a little bit. Which around the hands. All right. All right. All right. Not bad, Jack. Let's see you kind of push it in closer. You little lads, right? And you got move it more to this side so I can see. I'm just seeing a white page now. Move it to the page where the part where you're writing is, okay? Well. Looky here. Miss Kaya. All right. All right. Nice. Come on, Terry. Come on. All right, Kaya. That's cool. That's cool. Push it. Come in closer. Lotus East. Okay. Let me see. Come up. Come up. I want to do some Lotus East. Whatever that is. All right. So, oh yeah, you. Yes. Yeah, I know. Oh wow, yeah. Was I saying French names? Was I saying the names in French? I mean, wow. I'm talented. I didn't even know that. Okay. All right. So I want to just start putting more focus onto the poses, right? Onto the poses, the names, what they are, how to pronounce them, different things, and just us starting to look at the sequence, more than just a series of exercises and things like that, really and truly. So you're gonna make your corrections, or you could just let's start from 1. All right, let's go 1 through 28. Mark it again. So yeah, you could just keep that poor attempt that you did. Just keep it right there and just go under that and just go from 1 through 28 again. And we're gonna write. Terry, it's all right, Terry. It's all right. I see your face. I see it's all right. It's all right. We'll slide Locust East in there. So starting from number 1. From number 1, Ujara. Ujara. UDJA space RA. Ujara. 2, back rock. Right? Back rock. In brackets and parentheses, you could put Geb phase begins. So Geb phase begins. I'm actually going in chronological order of more or less of the story of creation, right? 3, leg raises, point and flex. 3, leg raises, point and flex. 4, bridge. 5, shoulder stand. 6, I say 6 already? No, 6, plow. We'll speed up. 7, spider. 8, fish of Ra. 9, forward bend. 10, wedge. 11, spinal twist. 12, arat, spelled A-R-A-T, arat. In brackets right next to arat, put emotion/animal phase. 13, Sobek. S-O-B-E-K. Sobek. 14, Serket. Serket. S-E-R-Q-U-E-T. Serket. So for your own learning, we can go back up to Adat. Next to Adat, so you know what Adat is, the English version of it. Adat is cobra, right? Adat, cobra. So I was just giving you the Kemetic vocab. Sobek would be crocodile. Sedket is scorpion. 15, Hodem Aket. Hodem Aket. Northern people just say Horem Aket, but Hodem Aket. That is lion. That is lion, but what Hodem Aket means, you could put in quotation marks, is Heru on the horizon. You see where the Sphinx is. The Sphinx sits looking directly towards Ra, looking at the horizon, guardian of the gates. 16, Anpu. And Anpu would be Anubis, referred to by the Greeks. What is Anpu? What is Anubis? It's a jackal, a jackal. 17, Heru. So we didn't give you the spelling of Hodem Aket. It's H-O-R-E-M space A-K-H-E-T. Hodem Aket. Anpu is A-N-P-U. Whether I'm saying Anpu, or I'm saying Anubu, or I'm saying Anubis, it's all the same thing. 18, Ma'at. M-A-apostrophe-A-T, Ma'at. Some might say Mayat, same thing. In brackets next to Ma'at, put Natert Trinity phase. "19, Nut, N-U-T. 20, Aset, A-S-E-T. 21, Aset's throne. 22, you want 21? Aset's throne. 22, Aset's embrace. 23, Asar, A-S-R. A lot of times with Kemetic stuff, we don't use vowels. But if you see Asar written A-U-S-A-R, same thing. So next to Asar, in brackets, you're gonna put establishment, perfect darkness phase. 24, Jed, so you can write Jed, D-J-E-D / pillar headstand. 25, Sesh. Sesh spelled S-H-E-S-H. 26, Kepada. Kepada spelled K-H-E-P-E-R-A. You see Kepada, you see Kepri, Kepra, same thing. 27, Infinite Kepara. 28, Nahast. So this is Smai-Tawi tribe sequence, right? For any of those people that have the book, Sematawi, TEFNUT, Sematawi, the Egyptian yoga book, then you see a slight difference on maybe a good amount of things as far as the sequence. Know that that book is written almost 30 years ago. Yeah, even though he's my teacher and I started there, I made a lot of adjustments along the way. So he just hasn't revised the book within the 30 years. And in all honesty, he's Marta Ashby, he taught one initiation class certifying people, and then he never taught initiation class again. He just moved on from that. And his pupil, who is Netta Unk, he ended up taking over. So Netta Unk, I'm a direct ascendant of Netta Unk. So when we're looking at those sequences now, looking at these different names, right? Let's go down them real quick, make a few little notes. So in Ujjara, you can write in brackets right there, light phase. It's not a real thing, not a real classification of that, but just for your own knowledge, light phase. When you heard me breaking down the storyline a few weeks ago, and I was talking about the creation, and I was talking about, let me back up. So you're probably looking at this like, all right, there's no Ua Kepri here. What the hell's going on? Good question. This right here, a lot of times I just go into this as a standard flow, right? I'll add in Ua Kepri dependent. So I did this layout more so for teaching live classes. So I know that Ua Kepri is not something that I put people into all the time, really and truly. It's dependent. If it's real cold outside, I don't have no way of heating them up. I'm not going to bring you inside to lay you down. That's going to be very uncomfortable. So I'd rather just start you off and just have you moving. So that's why I go straight from Ujjara, okay? But for those of you that are doing your own practice at home, then what we're going to do, go ahead and put above. It's all right. You don't have to renumber it. You could just put some little asterisks up top, and you could just put Ua Kepri. So you have Ua Kepri, then you have Nefertum. So Ua Kepri is UWAH space Kepri, KHEPRI. Then under that, Nefertum. So sorry, next to Ua Kepri, what you're gonna write in brackets, you're gonna write time before creation. Now, when you get into Nefertum, which is next, Nefertum. Nefertum will start the creation phase. So you can put that in brackets. After Nefertum, you go into Nu, put Nu, N-U. When you're talking about in some older text, you'll see it also written as Nun. Whether you see Nu or Nun, it's one and the same. Sometimes they might give difference to, like, one represents a masculine aspect, one represents a feminine aspect, but that's not completely true. You know what I mean? It'll be more so when it's seen like that, it'll be Nun or Nunet. Nun being a masculine representation, Nunet being feminine representation. But you won't come across that too heavy, but just in case, it's one and the same thing. But just Nu. A lot of times I don't like to get caught up in masculine and feminine of it and just deal with it, because, like, when you're dealing with water, you're not like, oh, well, what is this? Is this a masculine energy or feminine energy? It's just water. You know, it has its own principles. So when you're moving on from Nu, After that, we'll go into the shoe warm-up. So after that, just put shoe warm-up. Sorry, skip that, cross that one out. After new, put shoe, separation of air and space. So shoe is going to be the name, and then colon, separation of air and space. Then after that, put shoe, write shoe again, S-H-U, and then put warm up. So now, when we're just talking about the Smai-Tawi tribe sequence, right? Then we're just talking about the 1 through 28 that I gave you at first. But if I want to go through the whole creation story, and I want to go through it, go through each pose, like I'm retelling the story, the whole ritual of creation, then I'll start from Ua Kepri all the way to Nahast. So that's a longer flow. So that's going to be the difference. There's a video on my page that I did. It's just me and April, and it's like 2 hours and 11 minutes or something like that. That's probably Ua Kepri all the way through. But it's long like that because I included a lot of teaching points and instructional points, right? So going through this real quick. So we're back to Ujjara. Ujjara. Oh, sorry. Let me see. Where was I? No. When I was telling you about the storyline, and I was going from the order of being in Ua Kepri when representing time before creation, you know. Also want to add on to Ua Kepri, you could plug that into your day already when you're doing Ua Kepri by starting your day with that. You know what I mean? Ua Kepri is a reset. It's also just a reset for me. You know, whatever shit that you had that happened to you yesterday or whatever the case, don't drag that in to your new day. Just keep that right where it is. Reset, let all that go. So I go into that a lot time before creation. A lot of times I don't actually sit down and lay down into the pose, but I could be up doing what I need to do, but I'm already going through my reset. So not all the time you're going to be actually down on the mat into the pose. You're going to get to a stage, hopefully, after practicing it for a good amount of time, being consistent with it, that it's just in you, right? I don't need to come down onto the mat to know that I'm doing Ua Kepri. I could be starting my day, getting my tea ready, getting my chlorophyll and my spirulina ready, and I'm going through Ua Kepri already. Do you know? So us thinking that we always need to be seated into a yoga pose or something to go into the mind faculties is not necessary. Because if you want to integrate this into your life, you're not always going to have a yoga mat right there to throw down on the floor and, okay, let me practice this principle. No. So always practice the principles on movement, whatever you're doing. To be completely honest with you, like as far as sitting down, holding the meditation and like, oh, I'm here for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't do that. I don't like that at all. You know, I've forced myself to do it over the years. Yes, many times, you know, and probably go through a space like I'm practicing that act of meditation, you know, 20, 30 minutes, you know, more so in the summertime where I get to be outside and I could just gaze off, you know, into nature. But like, really, I don't like that as a meditation. I prefer moving, going into my practice, getting lost in my practice as a meditation. I prefer walking through the forest or through the park as a meditation. I prefer just sitting down, smoking my blunt, just listen to my music as a meditation. Do you know what I mean? So meditation could look completely different, but you need to find out what works for you. Do you know what I mean? What allows you to go into your mind and reset. It might be drawing, it might be coloring. You know what I mean? Meditation doesn't have to be sitting there actually like that. Some people like that, some people don't. I don't. So if you don't like particular things of the sequence or whatever, that's fine. That's cool. You're not supposed to like everything. Take what you need, pick what you need, and just morph it the way you need to. That's what I've done. All right. So yeah, moving on from there, I'm going to be skipping around, jumping around, but we'll come back. Talking about the story of creation. We have these energies, right? That we have the breath. Well, let me pull back. Let's go into the word. Let's move out of time before creation and let's go into creation. For something to be created, it requires chaos. It's a vibration, an action. Some type of action that has to occur, right? So that's why we go into the word, into the hakao. When we start, that's us pulling ourselves into what? Into existence, into creation. That's you being responsible for yourself. You're not talking about, like some deity came and created you. No, you created yourself. You spoke it into existence. That energy that is you has always been in existence, has always been in existence. It's just this body that takes form now. When we're talking about our years and stuff, we tend to classify like our intelligence or whatever the case on the amount of years that we've been in this vessel, but that's incorrect. We've always been in existence. You know what I mean? So know that. So we have these energies and we pull ourselves into existence through the word, through the hakao, through that divine word. Word, power, sound. Hakao. The actual meaning of hakao is words of power, words of speech, divine words, any one of those things. Why you put in hakao? Well, put in hakao. Put next to that, say it again, ma'akeru. Ma'akeru. M-A-A apostrophe K-H-E-R-U. Ma'akeru. So that is words of right or true speech. So you can see that's the combination of ma'at and heru, that balance, right? And that mastery. So words of speech, words of right. From having so from pulling that word into existence, we go into we're coming up out of new. So after we birthed ourselves, right, pull ourselves into existence, being Nefertum, then Nefertum being represented as a young aspect of Heru, Nefertum also meaning a beautiful creation or the beautiful completion. One of the two, they're interchangeable. When you see the word Nefer, anything that you see Nefer means beautiful, whether it's spelled N-F-R or N-E-F-E-R. That's beautiful. So beautiful completion, beautiful creation. So Nefertum, you're pulling yourself, you're emerging out of those primordial waters. I look at the primordial waters as Nu's representation for the primordial waters, coming out of that. I look at that as still primordial waters, amniotical fluids. It's one and the same thing, right? Okay, because that's where we're coming from. Now, these are my own Sematawian perspectives of things, all right? I'll just say that. So yeah, I look at primordial waters, Nu coming out of primordial waters as myself coming out of those amniotical waters, right? Of my mother's womb. That is the first mother, sacred mother, right? So one and the same thing. You could see your mother as Nu, as Nun. But you can still see your mother as Ma'at. You can still see your mother as Aset, because she's probably your first point of unconditional love, But now we're coming out of these waters. We're pushing up out of these waters, coming up into existence, opening up. And every time I really think like, okay, I'm in Nefertum, and coming out of Nefertum, on Nefertum, I'm always visualizing myself. That's how it started. Always visualize myself in Nefertum as being Heru. I am Heru, just sitting on top of a lotus flower that's sitting on the waters of creation. So that's always within my heavens. when I was just practicing just meditation, that used to be my main meditation. Just that. Focus on that and just try to keep my mind right there. So for those that want to go and practice some meditation and you like visualization in your meds, then cool. You could do that. Try to just focus on that. Whether you tell yourself, okay, you know what? I'm gonna set my time. I'm gonna put 10 minutes on this timer. This timer's gonna go off and then I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna visualize myself being on that lotus flower. Not seeing another image, seeing yourself, right? Because it's easy for us to look at all these different images that we see and just start visualizing that. Then we start to actually deify these images that we see. No, visualize yourself. So visualize yourself on that lotus flower and try to keep your mind focused on that image. Focus there and let it be vivid. And that could just be a good way to start to develop your one-pointedness over time, right? So, since I'm already visualizing myself as being on that lotus flower, now I see myself push up out of the waters of creation. And then when I'm coming up and I push into Tekken, and then I exhale, separating my arms, going into a back bend, it just makes me think of a lotus flower like blossoming for me. So I just go into all of that. I'm coming up, opening. So I'm blossoming. I know I have to open myself. I have to open myself in order to receive, right? Closed mouths don't get fed. So I'm opening myself in order to receive. This is how I break down all the movements, and I tell stories to myself with it, and I just go through those same stories all the time, until I don't have to be going through the movements in order to have those stories at the forefront of my heavens. Those stories become principles. And then I start to adjust how I move in accordance, right? So you can't receive if you're closed. There's no way. You can't receive if you're closed. But as soon as you open, what happens? As soon as you open, you expose what? The heart has to go forward. The heart goes first, right? Right. Okay. So whenever you're thinking about putting left foot forward, let's talk about left foot forward. So in majority of the things that we deal with the left foot forward. So I might get them switched up. It's been a little while. But if you're looking at the deities in Kemet, you'll see the deities right here. When you see the deities with their feet together, arms alongside. Now, I could be wrong. It's one of these two. That means that that monument, that structure was erected when that deity was still living. All right? But then when you see deities or structures with left foot step forward, that means that structure was erected when they transcended. So like I said, I could have them swapped. It's been a while since I went into that, but it's one of the two. So those are things to look at. But we deal with left foot forward. Left foot forward, why? That's in line with the heart. That's where the heart is. So you go forward with your heart. You go forward. You're putting who first? You put in Ma'at first. Remember, when we're dealing with the principles, we're dealing with the deities. Everything has to be built on Ma'at. Everything. And what does Ma'at represent as a principle? Ma'at represents truth, righteousness, balancement, order, reciprocity, all these things. So you could always utilize Ma'at, right? When you're thinking about your movements, how am I moving? How did I just react right here? Was that Ma'at? Hold on. How am I treating this person? How am I treating myself? You know what I mean? Like I said, we skipping around. So now you're having these, you're going up, you pushed up into Tekken, you open up, slight back bend, open, heart forward. So I always see that as the lotus flower blossoming. But as I'm seeing that lotus flower blossoming, when I'm bringing my hands back together into the Tekken, I'm thinking that as, okay, I'm opening up, and now since I opened up, Now I'm ready to receive, and I get to receive all these gifts from the verse. So I'm collecting all those gifts and I'm putting them right back into my Tekken. And as I'm coming down, I'm charging and aligning myself. So as I'm coming down, charging myself, I'm thinking of aligning myself and just stimulating or activating the chakras, being in an alignment. So I'm thinking of those things the whole way through as I'm going through that. Now that's in line with the breath. So I know it's like, oh, well, it's a lot of different things to think about at a time. Well, first work on the movement. Work on the movement. That's one. If you're coming down too low, stop coming down that low. Do whatever you need to do to make it work. All right? Adjust. You don't have to wait for me to tell you an adjustment. You going through that practice yourself, you're going to say, oh, okay, you know what? I'm going too far back. I'm going too low. The more you practice, the more you come up with your own modifications. I can only do so much seeing you here and trying to tell you particular things, but I encourage you to practice. This is your laboratory. You know what I mean? So once you work on the movement, then next, go on the breath. Focus on the breath. Like, okay, how am I supposed to be breathing in this? All right, let's think about it. So we're starting from the bottom. We're in new and we're pushing up out. What do we want to do right there? What naturally happens? What's happening? What does the body want to do? That's an inhale as you're pushing up. It's an inhale pushing all the way up into Tekken. Exhale as you separate the arms bending back. Open it up. Inhale as you're taking everything in. Back into the Tekken. You're cultivating everything back in. And then exhale as you come down, charging yourself up. So that is the breath. That is the different breath that you should have in the movement, right? So now, it's one thing to know what breath I should have in the movement, and it's a whole different thing to allow the breath to last the complete duration of the movement. That's when you start turning it into a movement meditation, really and truly. A lot of times, you know what I mean, when I'm teaching someone just on a one-to-one level, and I could have been teaching them for months, but when I'm right next to them, then I really pay attention to how they're breathing through it. I'm like, oh, you're not breathing properly through it. You took your entire breath right there at the start of the movement instead of allowing that breath to last the duration. That turns it into a meditation, you know, and not only just a meditation, it's a movement meditation. So you're getting the benefits of moving and stillness all in itself. What is that doing for you? That's a reset on your central nervous system alone. So if you're excited, you're staying in fight or flight, just you focusing on matching the movement with your breath, that's bringing you down. Slows your heart rate down, brings your stress levels down. But what does that also do? That allows you to start to make more connections. We're connecting. This is Smai-Tawi. It's about different unions. It's about making those connections, right? We're going into where was I? So from bringing everything in and then coming right back down, that's new. Because you're pushing up out of the waters of creation. Okay. So from pushing up out of the waters of creation, you go into Shu after that. Like you're here, you created. Okay. So now Shu represents separation of air and space. So that's why we start right here. Okay. See this as Shu, and we're pushing all the way up. Same thing. That's an inhale. That's an inhale all the way up. The inhale should last the duration all the way up. You're holding right there for one count. Slowly exhale, coming all the way down. So we're trying to aim for a 4 second duration in everything that you do, really and truly. Even if it's a short movement, you're still trying to aim for a 4 second. So even right here when we're in Ujjara, really and truly, I may go through it faster, but for you on your own practice, yes, practice going 4 seconds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So that movement right there, my breath matched that movement. I was inhaling all the way back. When I was going forward into it, I exhale all the way forward. But so we have into shu. So shu is also what? Shu is also the deity of the wind. You know, Shu is also deity of the wind. Shu and Sekem, one and the same thing. You know, Sekem is an aspect of Shu. What is Sekem? Sekem is the breath of life, vitality, life force energy. What is Shu? Shu's the deity of the winds. You know, represents change as well, different constants. So you can see, so now you have this energy, Shu, you have the breath of life. But you have the breath of life just moving around, right? Just moving around. So we start to move, even when we move and we go into the Shu world and you start to go from side to side, you could actually feel Shu. Just moving, you feel Shu every time we move. So basically you're just getting to know these energies, getting familiar with Shu, this life force energy. And then when you move on from there into the next one, go into what? The light phase. So you just got accustomed to, okay, this is the breath of life, this is Shu. Now I'm starting to know Ra. I'm starting to know Ra. What does Ra represent? You know, that power, that constant, that consistent power, right? That force, that will, that seen energy, right? Unlike Amin Ra, right? So if I put Amin on the front of it as a prefix, Amin Ra, then now that's unseen hidden energy, right? So you have Ra, Amin Ra, Amun Ra, you could go in. But that represents different points of where Ra is, okay? I don't want to get too much into Ra heavily because that will be one thing in itself. So now we have that, we have that Ra. So Ra, that consistency, right? So that movement of Ra, we're going to that. You see it, us pushing up, then we're going down. Once we come down, it's like the sun's coming down. So when the sun's coming down, you're going into what? You're going into your shadow hour. So yeah, when we go into our forward fold, okay, that's sun. Every time I'm holding that pyramid, that's Ra. That's Ra that I'm holding up. So Ra's all the way up here, boom, Ra's coming all the way down, lovely. Then my forward bend, I step back. So here, when I'm in this position, you see Ra's gone. We let Ra go. Ra's doing his own thing, just surfing. Now, this right here represents the shadow hour that we're in. That's the point of transition, okay? That point of transition could represent any point of change or transition within your life. So every time you're going through Ujjayi, some of the things to think about, like, you know, giving thanks to different transitions that you're going through, you know what I mean? And just seeing that through and being consistent with the efforts that you take in order to achieve whatever you want to achieve, right? That's what Ujjayi represents. So that consistency, like no matter what I put my mind on, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get it done. That's just it. Because I've been doing this system so long, it's just like, okay, no, this is what I wanna do and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna find a way to do it and I'm gonna do it. Even if I have to just break it down. So I'm very good with that. Knowing the result that you want to get from something and how could you implement that into your day. Even if it looks like just taking 5 minutes of your day and doing that and being consistent with that. You have to be consistent with small amounts before you could be consistent with something larger. So don't be upset, be like, oh yeah, well I'm not practicing this every day. Fine, what could you do? Could you do 5 minutes? Could you tell yourself, I'm gonna do 5 minutes of this every day? Put that down. There's a few things that we need to be doing every day to get to the result that we want, whether it's a year from now, 2 years, whatever it is. Are you being conscious of doing that? And are you doing that? Or what does your day look like? Do you know what I mean? Because Ujjayi should make you reflect on your consistency. What are you consistent with? Are you just consistent with going to work and building someone else up or building someone else's empire up? If you find joy in that, that's cool, no problem. But I would tell you, while you're focused on building up someone else's empire, make sure you focus on building up yourself, because you have to be all right in order to help anyone else. So it doesn't make sense if it's like, oh, it's a struggle for you to do 5 minutes of something good for yourself, but then without thinking about it, 8-10 hours of your life every day you could just go and do just for some money. Come on now, what are we really doing? Do you know what I mean? That's not you loving yourself, right? So when thinking of Ujjayi, I always want you to think of your routines. Every time you go through Ujjayi, I want you to think of your daily routines, because it's what you do consistently. Is what I'm doing consistently getting me closer towards something that will benefit me or what I want, or is it pulling me further away from that? Right? Because if for instance, let's go weight, whatever the case. Let's go weight. If somebody is every day, part of their routine is, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go to Starbucks. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Starbucks, get my coffee, get the whipped cream on the coffee, get some sprinkles in it. But one of their new rules is they want to lose weight, right? But they're consistent with going to Starbucks every single day and getting that extra 500-600 calorie drink. But then when they tell themselves, oh, but I want to lose weight though. But then when you look at what they do on a daily, they don't do anything on a daily that drives them closer to that particular goal. You know what I mean? You're just getting further away. So every time you go into Ujjayi, that's an opportunity for you to examine what rituals you're doing, what habits are you doing, what's your daily routine look like? Because the sun is consistent. The sun is consistent all the time. You never have to think, oh, the sun didn't show up today. Oh shit, what's going on? No, the sun is there all the damn time. So let's not be consistent in things that are not good for us. Whatever you think good is, do you know what I mean? Let's not be consistent doing the wrong stuff. You know, so someone else asked me, oh, well, how do you be consistent with these things? Oh, well, you're so good at this, you're so good at this. Who says? Who says? I just always remember how it feels when I feel like shit. And I don't want to go back there. So yeah, so sometimes is it a little struggle? I gotta talk to myself a little. Oh, come on, damn! Oh, I'm gonna teach these fuckers again. Come on, sometimes. Let's go. Yes, I gotta give myself a pep talk too. You know, but I remember how it feels when I feel like shit. That's it. I don't need nothing else. I know when I'm sick, when I'm ill, when I'm down, when I'm low, or you know, when I feel when my self-love is at an all-time low. I know how it feels. And I know what I did to pull me out of those spaces. And what I did to pull me out of those spaces is what I do. That's what I teach. You know what I mean? So working with you all keeps me in that space as well. We're helping each other. So if you don't like feeling the way that you're feeling, then you have to change. You have to do something different. You have to switch up your routines. It's easy to stay into a routine because you just fall in line with it. You're just so programmed, like you don't even think of it. You're on autopilot. But if you don't like the life that you live, then switch your routine. If you can't just switch your job, switch your routine. What you do before you go off to your job is going to have a lot of effect on your well-being throughout your day. It is. If on the days when we don't meet, you just, before you go to work, you're sitting down watching news. What are you doing? You're watching news, you're drinking coffee, you know what I mean? Circling. What are you doing? You're programming yourself with murder, death, kill, off rip, because that's what the news is going to give you, murder, death, kill, you know what I mean? And then what are you doing? If you're drinking a coffee that has a whole bunch of sugar in it and all that, you just, what? You're ramping up yourself, come on. What are you doing for the central nervous system? Without you knowing unawarely, you're putting yourself into a light fight or flight zone. You're drinking this sugary crack while looking at murder, death, kill. What are you doing? So that's what you're already giving yourself. So of course, your day is going to be intense, right? But if you're starting completely different, like, okay, hold on a second. What have I realized? Like, for some reason, the days that I start with the yoga, the RebuYogi Online, they start just a little smoother. I feel that much brighter. Okay, if that's a realization for you, then why don't you do more of the things yourself? Why don't you carve out that time of your day to do more things? More of those things that make you feel good. It's about reclaiming our happiness. You know what I mean? Because we have a tendency to tie happiness into people or material things or whatever the case, but it's this, like, go back into yourself, you know, and reset that happiness meter. You know what I mean? I find that there's so many simple things that I find joy in. So many. Breathing, you know, the practice, not even thinking about the practice. You know, no matter a place like that, but you'll get there as well. Just going on your mat and just moving. Sometimes just doing that. Just going on your mat and just moving. Who cares? Not trying to follow anything, not trying to look at what to do and am I doing this right? Just moving. Sometimes just going on your mat and just stretching, just holding long stretches, just getting yourself into different positions. Oh, hold on, what's that? Oh, you know what? Oh, yeah. Let me hold this for a little bit longer. Let me hold this for another 2-3 minutes. That's how you find out what you need to do. I'm constantly trying to figure shit out, like be in the bed, just, okay, what's this? Oh, what's that? Oh. And then from there, I'll also pull out my yoga anatomy book. Oh, let me make sense. What is this pain that I'm feeling here? Let me go into that. Get yourself other tools. If you're serious about what you do, get yourself other tools. Get a yoga anatomy book. It doesn't have the Kemetic Yoga poses in there that we do, but there's similar poses that you could be like, oh, okay, this links to that. Okay, yes. You have to become the best technician of your own self. It's you. No one can tell you about yourself. Well, I don't even know. What time is it? Okay, all right. Okay, I just felt like I was going on. But wherever that was, back to the energies. I know I flip around. I take shrooms and stuff. I smoke weed. What do you expect? I'm fucking random. But hey, it's all together. It's all together. That's why you just got to keep your notes. So now you have these energies. You have the breath of life. You have the breath of life. You have the fire of life, right? So we already know that fire of life is going into that light phase in Ujjara. Now we know that Ujjara, that particular principle of Ujjara represents what? A consistency. I want you to reflect on your routines, right? So these are some things I want you to think of when you're going through Ujjara. So breath of life, fire of life. Now you need somewhere to put these energies in. So that's why you go into the Geb. Go into Geb phase. I'm not going to go into the whole breakdown. But let's just skip around on this so you can make note. I actually want to go into, let's go into Natur Trinity phase, and you can make notes on that. So Natur Trinity phase, triple goddess phase, it's one of the same thing. So you see off rip, we go into what? These are 3 goddesses that we go into. So Ma'at, Nut, Aset. So paying homage. Well, in the Kemetic pantheon, the woman is the highest, really and truly. So it's like you have to go through all these different guardians, you know what I mean, before you could even see Ma'at. So you see, you have Ma'at. We deal with Ma'at first. Ma'at brings you into that triple goddess phase. She is that balance. And then Nut represents that expansion. So from having that balance, that foundation, then you can expand. So you have to lay the foundation in order to expand. So that's not just a pose or postures for me. It's the way I think of life. Do you know what I mean? Okay, what am I doing? No, I want to expand. I want to expand. No, how can you expand when you didn't lay the foundation? Like, what are you going to expand on? There's nothing to expand on if you didn't lay the foundation. So no matter what it is that I do, whether I'm dealing with yoga, I'm going into the garden, doesn't matter. I need to lay my foundation. There's no way I could expand without laying the foundation. I'm very methodical when it comes to things like that. Like right now, I'm doing, me and Emily's heavily on our allotment. So I'm doing a lot of study of allotment. You know, lots. I have a book there. You know, I go into my own study. When I'm by myself, I will go into it. Anywhere 2 to 3 hours a day. I'll just study gardening, study allotment, study methods. I go into that. So this is me laying my foundation. I have to lay my foundation before I expand. So I definitely do. I'm actively doing, but I'm actively studying as well. That's where I really excel. I'm a diligent student in whatever I do. I'm a diligent student, just on it. So I want you to have that principle as well when you're going into Ma'at, when you're going into Nut, not just seeing them at that. You're like, okay, what new endeavors or old endeavors, you know, or whatever that I'm going into. Like, do I really want to expand in this? Have I done myself justice? Have I been the best that I can by laying the foundation? Especially if you are a teacher or you have other people that seek you for guidance. Well, you're in a household, you know what I mean? So you have Ma'at, get that balance, see that foundation, and then Nut, go ahead and build your skyscraper now that you laid the foundation. And then from there, we go into Aset, right? So Aset, you see, Aset has a few right up the set. You have Aset stone, Aset's embrace. Boom. Is that heavy focused on Aset. So what does Aset deal with? Aset deals with unconditional love. That's self-love. So there's 3 different times you really focus on that, right? So just in Aset, it's like, okay, you coming to know Aset. But you know what's deep? Aset is still a combination of all. Like all the characteristics of the other goddesses are in each other. They're all really one and the same thing, even though we break them out. Actually, everything is one and the same thing. You know what I mean? We just choose to focus on different parts. But even if you see in Aset, when we go into Aset, Aset is so similar to Ma'at, the way we go into it, right? Maybe you never noticed, but maybe you start to notice it now. They're so similar. But then when I'm going into Aset, I was thinking like, what's the taxing part? Aset is going to reveal your weak areas. She's going to reveal them because Aset represents that mirror. You know, mirror. That's self-love. So for some people, weak points might be, the hip flexors, the psoas, the knees, just coming down to this point. Oh no, I hate this pose sometimes. Aset's going to show you. Aset's going to reveal your weaknesses. Some people might be like, I'm fine coming down here, but it's my shoulders. When I hit that, you know what? Shoulders. We need to have strength here. We need to have strength here because what? Aset carries a lot of weight on her shoulders. You know, weight of others. She has to be strong within herself. Self-love first and foremost, in order to carry that weight. On the wings, on the healing wings of Ra. So this is what it actually is when our hands are out. The wings out being those that represents the healing wings of Ra. A lot of times we straighten them up real hard, but their wings. Flow with them. You could just come into just that pose within itself. Just that pose. Say, I don't want to do the whole sequence today. Okay, just go into the pose of our set. Hold that as a meditation. You know what I mean? Don't kill yourself, hold it. Hold it for as long as you can comfortably. Bring it back, release. You want to come into it again, you could come into it again. But you could use just that as a meditation. You could take any of these things that you want to focus on and break that down. You don't have to do the whole sequence. Hey, you know what? I don't know nothing about Sobek. I'm just going to do Sobek. Today, I'm just going to do Sobek. I'm going to go through Sobek as a movement. I'm going to try to understand what Sobek is as a principle. I'm going to look online. I'm going to do a whole bunch of studies just on Sobek. You know what? I'm going to take an hour out of my day and do that. Like, how serious are you with the practice, with wanting to know these things? Do you know what I mean? Do you put time out of your day to like actually go deeper into what we're doing, or do you not? Back into routines. Routines. If you have to take away anything from today's talk, look, let's go ahead and focus on a routine. What does your routine look like? Routine doesn't have to be something long. Yeah, I did this for 2 hours and I went and I moved on and did this for 2 hours and I moved on. If you only have 1 hour before you go to work, your routine might be 20. You know what I mean? If I break it down like that, I'll put it like, was it 20 minutes of, is it meditation, movement? No, I would put movement. Meditation, mindset, movement. So even if you have just, I only got an hour. Okay, break it down like that, 20. Meditation, mindset, movement. All the time. That could be your regular ritual on how you start your day without fail. So you think, okay, 20 minutes, I'm going in my meditation. However you decide to meditate, find out. I'm not just talking about just laying down or just staying like this. Whatever you choose to do for your meditation that connects you to that divine, go ahead and do that. It might just be a bath. It might be you just soaking in the bath for 20 minutes with aromatherapy and incense. Whatever it is, find out what it is. It might be going outside and just gazing at the sun when it's rising. That might be your meditation. Do you know what I mean? So go ahead and do the meditation for 20 minutes, and then we have mindsets. Especially if you know that you have a weak mind. If you know that you have a weak mind and you're constantly going through self-sabotage, mindset should be a big thing. Because none of the things that we talked about will be achieved if you don't have mindsets. Right? So mindset. Like, oh, well, Sematawi, what could I do? What should I do for mine? Hey, guess what? YouTube is the biggest search engine in the world. Go on to YouTube every rising and put in mindset motivation. Listen to someone new. Select someone randomly. All the time. Focus on that for 20 minutes. This will reprogram you. These things that you do day in, day out, they will reprogram you. You know, I love listening to mindset stuff. Love. Doesn't matter. Till now, I still do it. It's something I've been doing for, I don't know, over 14, 15 years, really and truly. You know, we always need someone else to pull us just a little more, to help us grow just a little more. We always need that. You never get too big for guidance. You know what I mean? I see guidance from a lot of different teachers, really and truly. From whoever, I pull inspiration from whoever. You know, I'm gonna wrap up. But on the mindset heads that I like to listen to, it switches at different times. I'll give you some to branch you out of your box. Look up Sila Media. Let's look up that. Matter of fact, Sila Media, spelled SEALA Media. All right, you're gonna see Tree of Life. Tree of Life.
Is that the
It's gonna look like two rosters pop up, but they're not rosters. So don't you dare say that. But something that they just posted probably like about 2 weeks ago is yoga the devil or some shit like that? Is yoga demonic? Yeah. When you click on to Sela Media page, that's gonna be like the last 2 or 3. No. These brothers are cool though. One of the main guys, he doesn't follow me. He's cool. I'm not doing it like a stab or nothing, but some interesting stuff on there. So yeah, definitely look up him. Look up Teal Swan, TEAL SWAN. If you're not familiar with Teal Swan was great. Like I got introduced to her when I just started going into a lot of shadow work. That was I was at one of the lowest points in my life, really. And yeah, just started to go into a lot of shadow work, and I came across her stuff, and she's great. She's great with it. Who else left field? Let me see. Muji. If you don't know Muji, good Muji. Mooji. Love Muji. I got introduced to Muji when I came over here 10 years ago. So, and yeah, Muji's great. Yeah, I'll leave you there. Those three is cool. Those three is cool. So you got meditation, mindset, and then movement. So that's your 20-20-20 on your movement. Whatever you decide to do, movement. Whatever you decide to do. I think I'm gonna leave it there. What's our time check? Okay, we got 5 minutes. Let's get some movements in. Look at me like, no. Yeah, we got 5 minutes. That's cool. So go ahead and come onto your mat. Oh, I didn't know that was still on. You can take off that either. All right, step into the front of the mat. Hold on over here. Natasha, I can see myself. All right, not gonna keep you rev. So we're at the front of the mat, arms alongside the body. Inhale, raise the arms all the way up into Tekken. Exhale, Sema. Inhale, pushing forward and up. Raise the pyramid. Exhale, coming down to the first eye. Separate the arms, bending back. So try to think of everything that we just talked about. Bring them into the session. Inhale, bring the arms up. Keep the arms separate though. Bend the legs. Exhale, fold forward. Step or jump back into low plank. Inhale, lift up into pyramid, high onto the toes. Exhale, heels flat. Bend the legs. Inhale, step or jump forward. Exhale, fold, dropping the head. Hold the pyramid with the hands. Inhale, raise the pyramid all the way up into standing. Exhale, come down to the first eye, separate the arms, bending back. Straighten out the legs, move the hips forward. Inhale, coming up, keep the arms separate, bend the legs, exhale, fold forward. Step or jump back into low plank. Inhale, pyramid, high onto the toes. Exhale, heels flat. Bend the legs. Inhale, giant step forward with the left foot. Left palm on the instep, flatten out the right foot. Inhale, raise the right arm all the way up across the chest, looking up. Exhale, lower the arm over the head. Keep the head close to the arm. Inhale, raise the arm all the way up. Head follows. Exhale, slowly lower the arm back down. Palm on the out step. Front foot forward. Exhale, step back with the left foot into plank. 3 breaths. Inhale, lift up into pyramid, high onto the toes. Exhale, heels flat. Separate the hands a little more. Bring your chest down. Lift the head up just a little bit right there. I always want you going to the back, this part. That's what I want you to focus on. So legs are bent. Inhale, giant step forward with the right foot. Right palm on the instep, flatten out the left foot. Left hand on the right arm. Inhale, raise the left arm all the way up, looking up. So Jack, I want you to make sure that your knee is stacked right underneath your ankle, right? So go ahead and shift that foot forward a little bit, that front foot forward. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Good. Exhale, lower the arm over the head. Keep that rotation going. So rotate it. Okay. Inhale, raise the arm all the way up. Head follows. Exhale, slowly lower the arm back down. Turn the front foot forward, palm on the out step. Exhale, step back into low plank. Inhale, lift up in the pyramid, high onto the toes. Exhale, heels flat. Feet are about hip width apart. Separate the hands further. Spread the fingers, press down to the hands. Soften up the pose. 3 breaths from now. So as those hands are pressing down, make sure that the elbow rotates so the elbow's facing more downward. Don't let the rotation come from the hands, from the arm. Yeah, just a little bit. Lift the chest just a little. Lift the chest, lift the chest. Lift. Okay, nice. That's what I want. Inhale. Exhale, slowly shift the body forward and down. Keep the arms and legs straight. You're going to lower the hips and raise the chest and the head. Keep the knees off the ground. Exhale, dropping the knees down together. Point the toes. Inhale, lift up to all 4. Exhale, roll back into Kepara. Keep the arms extended. Inhale, coming up. I want you to stay in the sesh. So bring your knees close together. You keep your feet pointed if you're able to do that. Hands on top of the knees, on top of the thighs. On this. We're going to inhale together. Exhale, release Om, Asar, Aset, Heru. Do this once. Inhale. Om. Hey. Hetep. 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 Amun is satisfied. Give thanks. All right, y'all.